And a moment later, I found myself in a completely different dimension. I didn't know why I was there, because it certainly wasn't the fitness room, but I didn't feel anything other than being welcomed. I didn't feel anything other than this overwhelming sense of love that came to me. It was a sense of, wow, I know everything there is to know. And in that moment of realization, I understood that I was floating, but it wasn't on water waves. It was what I can explain as energetic waves that were coming towards me. I was floating on these waves, and they were coming towards me because I could see them, but yet they were also passing through me, which I thought was really interesting because I had never experienced anything like that before, at least not here. When I looked up, I saw what I will describe as a gigantic golden, yellow, glowing, pulsing sphere that filled up the whole dimension of what was in front of me. And this is where the sense of love, the sense of all knowledge, the sense of welcoming was coming from. And looking back on it, I didn't realize at that moment that I had died or was lying on the hospital fitness globe. That realization or that correlation came much later. But when I was looking at this golden sphere, I turned to see, I saw what I'll describe as little sparkles shooting out from it all over the surface of it, billions upon billions. I mean, billion doesn't even cover the number in our language, but they were shooting out all over the surface of this and heading into different directions. And I decided to look to see where they were going because I understood that this was some form of energetic release, propulsion, something of that sort. When I looked to my right, what I saw is what I can best explain as an infinite multitude of dimensions and universes. And it was easily recognizable. To describe it, I'm going to ask you to consider everything in our universe, the one we're presently in. All of the dimensions of it, the depth, the planets, the stars, everything you can think of. And compress that down into what I'll say, let's say a single sheet of paper. And then you suspend that over here in this eternal dimension. And then next to that, you put another one. And next to that, another one. And you keep doing this as far into infinity that you can imagine. And that's just one direction, if you will, of what it was. You could go the other direction. You could go front, back, up, sideways, crossways. There were all of these universes and dimensions suspended out in this eternal space. The interesting thing that I realized at that point was that each one of those dimensions, universes, had an energetic filament that was connected to it and reached back and attached itself to a spider web-like matrix that surrounded this golden orb that pulsed with the brilliance of 10 million suns, but yet it was so close I could touch it and not get burned, like it wanted me to merge with it. So there were all of these dimensions and universes suspended here, and I finally realized that what those little jets that were coming out, those little sparks, were going into these dimensions. And I realized that was me at one point before I came into this universe. That was you and everyone listening to this. That's where the origin of us came. And I realized that what I was looking at was the source of all creation, the divine creator, the God essence, if you want to put a name to it. It's more than that, but it's not a personage. It's an energetic, infinite knowledge that was pulsing out. And seeing those sparks, I understood that because that's where I came from, and that's where you came from, or everyone here on this plane of existence, we all carry the DNA of that creator energy. And so we bring it here when we come here. So we are all part of what I had seen. Well, I decided to turn around and take a look what was behind me, because all of these energetic waves were going through me and passing off in the back, as we understand front and back. So I turned around and I understood that I was looking at this whole scene through a different lens, a different set of eyes, if you will, than the low wattage of my eyes here could never experience and never see. All of this time that I was there in that eternal dimension, there were a dozen people back at the fitness center trying to revive me, trying to get my heart restarted with electric shocks, chest compressions. And this I got from interviewing the people who worked on me. Had I known it at that time, which I didn't, but had I known that they were working furiously to get me back, I would have said, hey, don't bother. This is so good. I would prefer to stay here than go back. And I couldn't call them to tell them that. So it was such a warm experience that has now become a part of me. And somehow I was able to bring that experience in a memory as I transitioned back from that eternal dimension to this one. So they finally did restart my heart, and all of a sudden I was gone from that dimension. I was now back in my body,